Yeah, I was under medication for ADD for 3 years. I mean, it was great. I mean, when you have nothing, when you're down and out, I mean, when you have nothing, drugs and surgeries can be amazing. And I've just found a natural cure. If a natural cure is available that worked, then I did that. I mean, I prefer to be drug and surgery free whenever I can.
Right.
I prefer for drugs and surgery to be absolutely the last resort after I tried everything, and only if I'm about to die do I do drugs and surgery.
Right. Now, when were you on drugs for ADD?
My early 20s, about there.
It's pretty late in life.
Yeah, it's pretty late. Yeah.
So what brought you to that point? What made you, what brought you to a psychiatrist to diagnose you and prescribe those medications for you?
What brought me to that?
Yeah.
I just saw that I wasn't concentrating. I had trouble concentrating.
Mm-hmm.
I had trouble just focusing on one thing.
Do you think that you can do better now? What you say you found a cure, a natural cure? What did you find?
To avoid sugar. To avoid sugar and also dairy, but mostly sugar. 95% of it is sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's the key right there. The sugar causes all sorts of, yeah. So you were on the medication for 3 years?
Right.
So what were the effects of the medication, and when did you feel like you had enough? When was that like, I don't know, I found something different?
Yeah, when I found something different is, well, all my life I've always been an advocate of, like, if you take aspirin, it's man-made, it's something that's not grown from the earth. So if I have a headache, I mean, I'm going to drink water, I'm going to try not to take drugs to alleviate my problem. It's not food that I'm ingesting, so if I'm fixing the headache, what else am I causing problems? So I've always had that mentality ever since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that this stuff is not food? So why are we just taking it as if it's water?
Mm-hmm.
So when I was on the ADD medication, I wasn't happy that I was on it, but I was on it. And then after 3 years, one day this guy said on TV, I could cure anything. Get my book. His name was Kevin Trudeau, Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About, and I got his book and I did the outlines and followed the procedure, found out it was sugar and got off of sugar, and then also got off the medication the same day that I got off of sugar.
And you never went back to it?
And I never went back to the medication.
And did you feel happier?
Yes.
Because you said you weren't happy that you were on medication, so did it affect like your happiness level too?
Yeah, I felt more me, the fact that I wasn't on medication, more me mentally, meaning like, okay, this is closer to who I am now,
Mm-hmm.
not being a robot or a drone or somebody that's drugged living life.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer to be drug-free living life.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Drug-free. So, when did that occur to you that you felt like you weren't yourself when you were on medication?
Medication definitely changes at least a little bit of your personality. I wasn't aware that my personality changed that much, but I always knew, I've always been like, you know what, this is not right. Taking drugs to fix something is not right. There's got to be another way. This problem seems so simple. There's got to be like, there's got to be another way to fix things.
Yeah.
other than. So the whole time I didn't feel like. Yeah, the whole time that I was under medication, I knew that, this wasn't for me.
Yeah. So, like you're saying that you went into an office because you had some symptoms going on. You
Right.
had trouble concentrating.
Right.
So, tell me how you decided the psychiatrist was the place to go.
Yeah,
to find out
so
about that.
I had trouble concentrating, and at that point I knew nothing about food or raw food or sugar or anything.
At this point in your life, you
And-
weren't there yet. This was
Exactly.
totally...
I knew nothing about food. I knew nothing about organic food. I mean, it just wasn't taught to us. It just wasn't taught to me. And if you have a problem, take a drug, that'll fix it. If you have a problem, drugs or surgery, that's it. Like what food, how can food affect your mind? How can food affect your body? Like food just, it's not that important really.
So that wasn't like part of your upbringing,
Right.
that wasn't part of your upbringing, like so you didn't grow up with that upbringing where
Right.
where what you eat affects you.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So when there's a problem, it's either drugs or surgery, that's it. It's like, so I saw that I had trouble concentrating, and then I read a book on Driven to Distraction. It was called Driven to Distraction. It was a book on ADD, and I'm like, oh my God, the book totally describes me. So I diagnosed myself. I'm like, you know what, I have trouble concentrating, I have ADD. So I went to my doctor and I said, hey, I have ADD, and I got tested by 3 separate doctors, and they said, yeah, you have the symptoms of ADD. Here's some drugs to cure it. Nothing about food. Not one of them told me anything about food. And then
No one asked you how much sugar is in your diet. No one asked you how are there any noises that are disturbing you? Are you getting enough sleep? Is there anything in your life? It was just.
Oh, exactly. No, actually, no. Sleep is good. No, nobody asked me about any of that stuff. Nobody asked me how much stress is in my life. Nobody asked me how much sleep I'm getting. Nobody asked me what kind of food I'm on.
What about the relationship with your family? Were you living with your family at the time?
I think I just had moved out.
You just moved out. So did anybody ask you how your relationships were with the people closest to you?
It wasn't, nobody asked me about my relationships. And of course everything affects everything else, right? I got tested by 3 doctors, and they said, okay, you have this, and here's the cure. Take these drugs. Yes, you have this, now take these drugs.
Were they nice? Were the doctors nice?
Yeah, they were fine. And here's the kicker. When I found out 3 years later, when I found out about sugar, I said to the main doctor, I said, hey, I found out about the sugar that can cure ADD. What do you think? She had no clue. And she said, you could try it. Yeah, you could try it, see how it goes. And so I tried it, and it worked. And I never went back to get my drugs. I never went back to get
hold
my
on a
drugs.
second. Can you back up a little bit? I got lost there for a second, and I just want to make sure that I hear this whole story, because this is great. So you're saying that you went to a doctor and they diagnosed you with this, because you diagnosed yourself. So you basically diagnosed yourself before you went, and you said, I have this, or I think I have this, can you test me to confirm this, and can I get help for it? This is because you care about yourself. Initially you went in for the purpose of taking care of yourself.
Right.
You thought this was the best way to do that, go about, because it was very important for you that you could concentrate, and this was causing disturbance in your life. And so going psychiatrist was a way to create, to relieve that stress of being unable to concentrate.
Right.
So then, catch me up to speed with, you've been on it and then you find somebody else later on. Wait, what was that last part you just shared? About someone saying something, a woman doctor? Is that right?
Yeah, she, so I was on it for 3 years.
Okay.
And then I told her, hey, look, I read online that you can cure it with no sugar or with just changing your diet. What do you think?
Oh, okay, I see.
And this is the main doctor that was giving me my prescription, and she said, well, I haven't tried it, but you can go ahead and you can go ahead and try. I haven't tried it. I don't know anything about it.
Really? She'd never heard. This is a doctor who went to school to get a doctorate. Is that what you get when you become a doctor? A doctorate? Well, how many years of school is that?
Yeah, it's at least that's quite a few.
And then how expensive is that usually? How much?
That's quite a bit of
money going in, and she'd never heard of sugar affecting concentration.
Yeah. It's
okay.
The response,
just checking.
The The response that I got was
Just checking.
food wasn't a connection at
Nothing to do
all
with it.
towards concentration or towards behavior or towards any of that. Actually, I heard that an average doctor gets an average of 2 hours total of nutritional training. I don't know if they've upped it recently, but it used to be, that's how it used to be.
And also no one said anything about sunlight either, right? You get enough sunlight?
No one asked me about sunlight, even though that it's definitely proven that sunlight definitely affects behavior.
What about exercise?
I don't believe they asked me about exercise.
Okay.
I don't, even though like, I have to double check on exercise. It's just, even though exercise is definitely proven to affect concentration and behavior.
Mm-hmm. But you're gonna check it, like, to remember if that question was ever asked?
The exercise might have been it. I mean, it was so long ago that they might have asked me about exercise.
Oh, I see. That question might have come up. I see.
I'm not 100% sure about exercise, but whether that question came up or not, the point was this: they didn't. No one said you should exercise 3 times a week. You should do this. You should do this because this definitely affects this. I went in there, and the whole point of it was, you have this. Take these drugs. These drugs are the only thing that's going to fix it. Everything else, all we know is that this drug is going to fix it.
Really?
And whether or not exercise was discussed, which I doubt that it was, but the only thing that was paramount was these drugs fixing it, and nothing was second place, and nothing was even on the list as far as fixing it.
What about when you've? Go ahead.
And then when I told her, hey, what do you think about? So when I found out the research about sugar affecting concentration, I said to my doctor, okay, so she said, yeah, you could try it if you want. I don't know anything about it. And then I tried it, and I kicked the habit of the drugs.
Yeah.
And I kicked the habit of the drugs, and I was like, oh, great. And so I called her. I left a message. I said, hey, I won't be coming back anymore. I won't be needing a refill of the prescription.
What was the medication?
It was a Ritalin generic. It was a Ritalin substitute.
Okay.
It had this really long
And did
name.
you change medications at all, or was it the Ritalin generic the whole time?
It was a Ritalin generic the whole time.
Okay.
So when I left a message, excited that, hey, I found a cure to ADD, and it's no sugar, and it cured me.
Wow.
I left a message on her voicemail, and thinking that maybe I'd get a call back, maybe she had some questions for me.
Yeah, that's
Right?
that's pretty exciting, right? You're like, I found
Yeah.
out great news. She's gonna be really stoked to hear this, because this is what she deals with all day, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I never heard from her.
She never
I
called
never heard from her. I never saw her again. I never spoke to her again. Yeah,
So
she
that
never,
was the last that you
that was-
to this day.
That was the last. Yeah, that was the last one-way communication on me leaving a voice message. And I was definitely excited to talk to her about it, to just tell her what I found. I mean, I was mad too, because hey, how come nobody ever told me this? It was a
Yeah.
combination of joy and anger, because I'm like, somebody must have known about this
Yeah.
for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe kept it a secret to make money off of drugs. So
Wouldn't that be a funny?
wouldn't that be weird if that was
Yeah,
true?
would that?
That can't be true. though.
I mean, all the evidence points to what?
So,
What? Excuse me. Yes. What?
that's it. If it smells like it, if it acts like it, it's it.
I smell like oranges. That's really beautiful. Thank you. That's very brave of you sharing that. Thank you for sharing that story with me. Do any of your viewers know this about you? Have you ever shared this before?
I don't think it's been on camera yet, so this will be the first time that it's on camera. So
Wow.
I believe so. Yeah.
Are the viewers okay with this type of information? Are they
Yeah,
supportive
they're-
of this type of sharing? Or is anybody out there like, oh no, you do have ADD. You must be taking medication. You're wrong. There is no cure. Do you think there's anybody out there watching that's going to think that?
I'm sharing a story about what happened in my life.
Yeah.
And this story happened, and the story is undeniable. And I'm not telling anybody out there to make any changes in their life or do anything. That's up to them to gather the information and the facts. And to decide what's best for them.
Right.
I'm sharing a story that happened. I'm in my life, and I'm sharing my truth. And when you share your truth, then you care little about what other people, what the reaction is.